Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Wednesday, June 3rd. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Ball State game in 94 days, the game against Michigan in 182 days. Today's show is sponsored by Jeff Ruby's of Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus. Named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus. And if you're watching on TV or on a computer monitor, go ahead and just scan that QR code. You go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. All right, the last couple days, we've brought on a couple of the members of the staff for the new site, BuckeyeInsiders.com. You heard from Tony Gerdeman. You heard from Ross Fulton. Today, you're hearing from Juck Miletti. You know him as Juck on Bucks, but he's going to be taking on a much bigger role at BuckeyeInsiders.com. First of all, Juck, welcome back to the show and welcome to the team.
Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate you for having me on the show. But you start off talking about Jeff Ruby's. It's all I'm thinking about. I want to have a Buckeye Insiders meetup with all the folks at Jeff Ruby's now.
You know, I'm not going to say no. I'm definitely not going to say no. I'm going to insist that we at least get the site launched before we have a celebratory dinner. Call me a stickler, but yes, we'll at least get the site launched, and then. But yes, you will find me at Jeff Ruby's sooner rather than later, no question. All right. So if you're looking for something to celebrate, there could be some stuff to celebrate in the coming weeks or months for the Ohio State Buckeyes on the recruiting trail. They just had 3 huge official visitors last weekend, and it feels like things are trending in a positive direction with at least a couple of them. Let's start with David Gabriel Georges. He is the 5-star 2027 running back out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. He is the top of the board guy, not just in the recruiting, in the running back room, but maybe in the whole class for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Very, very, very important official visit for them last weekend. What is the word on how that all went?
Fantastic. Couldn't have been better. And I don't think anybody expected anything but that coming out of this. I mean, it's a relationship that Carlos Lachlan and Ryan Day have cultivated for years now. Carlos Lachlan taking his time to go up to Montreal to visit the family. Then we saw over the spring, the entire staff went down to visit him at the Baylor School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And they have made it abundantly clear to him and the family that he is, top of the board priority. Made it abundantly clear to the parents that he's in good hands, and they believe that. They came into town with the aunt and the uncle, as well as his 2 little cousins. One little cousin, Jordan, stayed for Tuesday's camp and was practicing, and he's a priority target now too. So as far as the family goes and the family feel, I mean, everything went perfect. Couldn't have been better. And coming out of this, it feels, I think a lot of people felt going in like the Buckeyes were. If this was a 5 years ago type recruitment and there was nothing else involved, this is all Buckeyes. And I think everybody feels that way coming out of it.
So there is, I think the thumbnail for this on YouTube is going to be something like "ready to commit?" ? And the answer, that might be a complicated question because he's not announcing his commitment for a little while. What do we know about the timing of all of this right now?
So July 22nd is the date that he's going to make it official. But as we know, he's got 3 other official visits scheduled to Tennessee, Georgia, and Ole Miss. Now, the Georgia's got Kamon Spell, the number 1 back in the class, shares that spot kind of with DGG, and that's certainly off the table. I don't even know why they're taking that visit. Respect or something, just a nice kid. He had it scheduled. I think he doesn't want to cancel it. Ole Miss, that one is one that's never really had a ton of momentum, and it also really makes little sense. This is all about Ohio State and Tennessee, and that Tennessee visit coming up. So here we go. We're going to have the first 2 big ones out of the way quickly, and that one will be, we'll see how it feels coming out of that. But this is all going to come down to me does Tennessee go with the Godfather offer? Because as we know, Ohio State has really kind of set this up for 2 years now. They sacrificed last year's class with their eyes on DGG. Now, Tennessee last year was going after Savion Hyder, the number 1 back against Michigan, and they lost. And they went ahead and just kind of grabbed a walk-on running back in his stead with their eyes on DGG. So you got 2 powerhouse schools that both have 2 classes invested into this one kid. And somebody's going to lose, Tom.
Yeah, you don't want to ever say a guy is must get, but boy, when you frame it like that, it's like, well, I would strongly suggest you get him if you've sort of hung the last couple classes kind of around him specifically. So, all right, there's one of the three guys we got to talk about. Number 2, Marcus Fakatou. He is a 2027 defensive lineman, 275 pounds, so probably going to play inside, but I guess theoretically could be someone who they rush off the edge, depending that the profile is changing a little bit there in that Ohio State defense. Larry Johnson's got a heck of a defensive line class kind of cooking already, and this would be another really, really big addition for him if they could get that signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, they're really, it's very clear they've decided we need to invest heavily on the defensive line this year, and I couldn't be happier, man. This is the class I love right here, and it is looking great. By the way, Georgia floating outside linebacker for Fakatou, which is just like, whoa. He really wants to come off the edge, I could tell you that. But yeah, odds are this dude's going to eat a Big Mac in 1 month of Mick Mariotti, and he's going to be about 295 pounds. He's just a massive, massive young man, but incredibly smooth to go with that massive size and powerful as well. This is a guy who's got 5 official visits scheduled. He's going to make all his trips. The Buckeyes wanted to shut that down after this one. He came in announcing Ohio State as his number 1 school, his front runner, his first official. And, the hope was maybe they could get it to end right there, as he is a very impressionable young guy. In the spring, he went to every single one of his visits pretty much and came out saying, this is my new leader. But then he circled back when he thought about it, and Ohio State was his leader coming in. Ohio State certainly his leader coming out. He's in Georgia right now. He's down in Georgia. I'll tell you the biggest thing for me on this one, Tom, the parents. These parents feel like Buckeye parents, and everybody knows what I mean when I say that. They're those type of folks that are just like, oh, this feels a little different here. These folks are really mature. They know what they're doing, and they're just really good, solid people. They're from Alaska. He was raised in Alaska with them, so a new one there. But to me, ultimately, this one is a Buckeye prediction solidly. I believe he ends up in this class.
All right, so it sounds like they have a decent chance of going 2 for the first 2. The third name we got to talk about is Benny Easter. Now, this is a little bit of a different dynamic because he is currently committed to Texas Tech, 2027 wide receiver. And this is also potentially a somewhat consequential one because some other names are sort of coming off the board at wide receiver right now, and you don't want to be the one left standing without a chair when the music stops.
Been a really confusing class here, as obviously you got Cortez Hankton coming in an abbreviated class, taking over Brian Hartline's board. And we know when a guy comes in, a lot of those guys aren't going to make his cut. They're going to go by the wayside. And then he's going to go out and offer his guys. And he seemed to wait quite a while to go out offering his guys. But when he did, we saw a little bit of momentum building with a couple of them. A couple of them are off the board now already. And Torian Rollins, he was just offered 3 weeks ago. He just committed to Georgia over the weekend. Then we saw Trey Moore, who I really liked out of Pflugerville, Texas, a bigger body, 6'2.5", commit to Washington. That was just today. And we also heard that longtime Buckeye lean Eric McFarland not going to be making it for his official this week. So he's officially off the board for the Buckeyes. That's a real bummer. That's a guy that, we've been talking about him since he was a freshman in high school. He made 7 visits to Ohio State. The next closest was 2 visits somewhere else. So that was kind of devastating. Like everybody loved that kid. But Benny Easter committed to Texas Tech early on, right? Before he got big time offers. So he's been there a while, and you could certainly make the argument, look, this guy committed there because it was his biggest offer at the time. Maybe he didn't think a lot of offers were coming. And now he's getting some bigger offers, and he's entertaining Ole Miss and Ohio State. And if somebody were to flip him, I think Ohio State could. But ultimately, when I look at guys that are Texas Tech commits, there is this part of me that thinks, okay, if your priority, if you're going to commit to Texas Tech over Texas, over Ohio State, the people running your camp, right? Their priority is to maximize your college earnings. And when he comes out of this visit and the agent goes back to Texas Tech, what do? I think we know what they do. And I think ultimately that's how this one ends.
There is always money in the banana stand, as a wise man once said. So yeah, there you go. So if Ohio State goes 2 for 3 there, that's probably a 667 batting average. That'll get you in the Hall of Fame. That'll get you in the recruiting Hall of Fame. That'll get you in just about any Hall of Fame you want to. So yeah, there you go. So an update on 3 official visitors from last weekend. There's going to be a whole lot more recruiting to talk this month, all month long. We're going to be talking about that with Juck here. We're going to be talking about that with Juck at BuckeyeInsiders.com. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@ Buckeye Insiders. You can find our podcast. Just search Buckeye Insiders wherever you find wherever fine podcasts are sold. All those podcasts, they're all going to be in the same spot they always have been. So you can wherever you found them before, you can still find them there. And once again, we want to thank our friends at Jeff Ruby's, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.